try to go through in about 20 minutes this uh, made up uh, research profiling issue that we've come up with. And the purpose is to illustrate how a number of basic VantagePoint tools help you extract information you need to resolve an issue that you're confronting. So away we go. Okay. We're drawing on a host of tech mining questions from about a 12-page long table of them. We won't be stepping through those today, but the notion is there's a lot of things you can focus on science, technology, and innovation information resources. Okay. Our agenda today is to see if we can answer some particular research question. And short of that 12-page table, I love the reporter's question. And four that we're pretty good at addressing with VantagePoint's help are who, what, where, and when. There's a couple of deeper questions, why and how, that typically need human expertise. So today what we've set up is we're trying to figure out a particular research occurring in one location on a particular set of topics within a research domain and keying in on an expert with whom we might like to try to collaborate. Okay, imagine our company is pursuing opportunities in nursing homes, and we're really keen on getting an American-based expert who's studying the domain we're in today is long COVID. And if you're not familiar, those are the leftover effects up to months and beyond after the COVID virus goes through somebody's body and immune system. Okay, so flipping in our punchline, we're going to look through and we're going to come up with Cheryl Zimmerman, University of North Carolina, as our target expert. Cheryl just looks so friendly in this picture I found that how can we resist seeing if she would play along with us? Okay, this is the key slide of about 20 slides that I have. On the left, we set forth a particular question. On the right, we're just listing some of these basic VantagePoint to help address that. So first question on the left is, what's happening on long COVID research in the US? And we'll be stepping through some of the use of tools on the right after this. Second question is, but we want to focus on what's going on dealing with long-term care facility and long COVID. And then lastly, we'll try to zoom in on a particular researcher whom we might invite to work with us. Okay, here we go. Starting with the long COVID data set gathered from the Medline database via the PubMed website. What we used is the standard National Library of Medicine query, and it's written out here. And that gained us almost 28,000 abstract records of research articles from conferences and or journals indexed by Medline. Okay. I happen to have reviewed a research article on developing a long COVID strategy over the last week. And pretty interesting how arcane that can become. They combined mesh terms, medical subject heading terms, along with terms extracted from abstracts, as we will be doing. They did snowballing to link to researchers who cited or were cited by involved articles and used lots of expert review. More complicated than the way we did it. It turns out their search also got just about 28,000 hits, but they're not the same 28,000. There's about an 8,000 difference. So our focus today isn't on importing and finding data, but just wanted to take note of that. We used PubMed, as I said. EuroPMC, PubMed Central, is another resource which has the advantage of providing citation information. Or one could also look over in Web of Science, which is very good at citation information if you wanted to find who's engaging with who else's work. VantagePoint does support an API interface to EuroPMC, as well as we have download import filters set up for Web of Science, of course. Okay, but once we get those 28,000 or so records, we're going to focus on U.S. authored papers. How do we know what's U.S. authored? VantagePoint goes in and takes data such as this example for an affiliation field for some author. Notice it's got department information, institution, more institution, city, state, and country. Well, VP can come along and identify that from the location in the address and pluck out the country information. And that's what we use to then create a sub data set. Don't have to do that. You could work with just a country as a group in the affiliation field, but I think it's a little cleaner and actually means smaller, so that means a little bit faster if we pull out a sub data set. That's what we're doing here. The affiliation country field, we'll go and make a sub data set of almost 7,000 records where there's at least one author from the US. You do that, and I'll be showing you some stuff in VantagePoint, but not running things live usually. So mostly PowerPoint here. Okay, so now if we pop over, we've got our 6968 record data set from within which we want to focus on long-term care facilities. To get at those, we're going to use a different field, abstract phrases. Those have been pulled out by VantagePoint using natural language processing from the bulk abstract field, and they're noun phrases. And then we're going to filter through those looking for these terms, nursing homes and so on. Again, we could process a group, but it's sort of more manageable to pull out as a sub-data set. So here's those terms. Incidentally, this morning I was looking through things and noticed there's other variations of long-term care and nursing homes that this is not complete, but don't tell anyone. Okay, let me just show one little thing here in VantagePoint. Here is the 27,718 record file. I just wanted to show you, we've got an awful lot of fields available here. That's fine, but if you'd like to get to declutter things, you can also do that. So here's the 6968 file with fewer fields available. And you can easily remove or add fields. It's not a once and done decision. You can just go into refine and import more fields if you wanted, or you could go in here and delete fields if you wanted. So let me flip this back. That's just for handiness. Okay, back to PowerPoint here. And our next stage, we've identified those research articles on long COVID that have something to do with nursing homes. And now we're looking for our expert. So to do that, we look in another field, obviously authors. And we have authors. We can also look at first authors if we prefer. We could be looking in the 28,000 records or the 7,000. we're going to zoom in on the 129 that something to do with long COVID as I pulled it out in long-term care. Okay, when we do so, and we'll look in a second, relatively few articles. And this is again on long COVID in nursing homes. We have only 4 authors with more than 2 papers, 2 of whom have 4 papers. And let's just show some ways we can get at those. Those 2 authors are Cheryl Zimmerman and Vincent Moore. Cheryl has other articles on long COVID, not expressly dealing with nursing homes, for a total of 9. Same with Vincent for a total of 13. So here's a look in the author name field. We've used some of our tools like list cleanup we can use to try to consolidate variations of author names. Like Cheryl Zimmerman, I've forgotten now, but there may be an S Zimmerman that we have use a detail window and peek over here. Here's 4 papers by Dr. Zimmerman. And notice the most likely affiliation for her, because it appears in all 4 of those papers, is North Carolina. Okay, so there's how we get that. If we did that for Vincent Moore, we would see Brown University at the top. Notice also that if we look at authors together with authors, we find that for the 4 papers by Cheryl Zimmerman, 3 are with Philip Sloan. So they obviously co-author a lot. That's at least one small clue that she's not averse to collaboration, which is good for us. We also can get at this pattern of who works with whom. I looked at that already. Using either a matrix and VantagePoint, or here we've got an autocorrelation map of author with author. Where do they appear on the same articles in Medline? And here, just what we looked at, here's Zimmerman together with, the print is pretty bad, with Sloan. Likewise, it turns out more frequently co-authors with, I'm not reading, Elizabeth, I think, White. And indeed, in this version of the map, we don't show every link. We just show above a threshold, I believe, 2 or more collaborations. But we do find there's another author who's collaborating with both Cheryl Zimmerman and Moore. So these groups at different universities are crisscrossing together. And one of the authors in that little network is, I think, University of Chicago, different locations. But there's our 2. We might also ask who's still active in the field. And if we looked, and here I look kind of at this larger picture of all the US authored long COVID papers in our data set here, where there's 13 by Moore, 9 by Zimmerman. We can look at those over time. As a kind of a benchmark, Michael Peluso is a more prolific author on long COVID. Don't see him actively engaging with nursing home issues. As you can see, publications per year. And Vincent Moore, still energetically involved here, little less in the most recent year. A side note, I in 2023 and 24 by creating a new field, making a group in the publication year. I can show you real quick. Think get to the right field. Year published, and making a group for each of the years, and then making a new field that combines 2023 and 2024. Nonetheless, we don't find any for Cheryl Zimmerman in the most recent year, plus only one for Vincent. So that might argue picking another expert, but again, Cheryl Zimmerman looks so friendly. Here she is, and our punchline is we have worked our way through taking the results of a large search, 28,000 records, and kind of sifting it down in two steps to the American subset, 7,000 records, and on down to a little more than 100 that pertain to long-term care facilities. Okay. So reviewing what we set out to do, so to get it the where question, the import filter has helped us by taking the PubMed format and extracting affiliation country. We've used list cleanup. Sometimes even on something like country, there'll be some noise. If I recall myself on a check, Georgia appeared as a country for a couple records, and I believe it's the state of Georgia really involved. And then we used create a sub data set to get to handier, smaller, more manageable data. On our looking for a particular topic within this domain, we focused on long-term care facilities. And the way we did that was by sifting through the noun phrases from the abstract. And we use tools like Refine NLP to make them a little bit cleaner. We could do more work on cleaning that field and consolidating. And again, we pulled out a sub data set on which we would actually go do our last stage of finding a particular research who might be approachable to see if they would be interested in collaborating with us on our interests. And to do that, we used author information, the author field, and so on. We also made a trend by looking at the year of publication. If we had a need to, we could pull out the month of publication where that's available. So there's options here. And detail windows help us add a dimension to where we're looking. So we're looking at American researchers on nursing homes with long COVID, and we can pop around and look at things like their institution. And then the co-authoring matrix or map help us identify what the research community looks like in terms of who networks with whom. Okay, so wrapping up what we've done, we didn't focus on it, but we noted that we have to import the data from a resource into VantagePoint. We refine that data to some degree. List cleanup, for instance, is one tool there. We then analyzed using a few very simple tools, making lists, searching through them, making a matrix, combination of two lists, and so on. We didn't key on reporting today, but you can go further on these topics over in our YouTube channel at the Vantage Point. Remember, there are other Vantage Points out there, so come to ours, search technology. And there's more illustrations there of short videos with a target analysis and results in mind and how to use the tools to help get there. And there's basics on using the tools. And that's it. Whoops, don't need the outtakes. So I'm done. Thanks for sticking with me. Bye.
Great. Thank you, Alan. We have a little bit of time if there are any further questions. We had one question that was wanting to verify that the countries were extracted during the import filter process.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the option. Some fields of information are kind of in the default primary set. Some are in the secondary set. And Ooh, let me see if I can. Uh, yeah. In the import filter, you'll have a choice of which fields you do or don't want to import, and you can always do add more fields or get rid of fields later.
Okay, great. We have another question. When looking for the subfields, nursing home, why use NLP? Why not just directly search different variations of nursing home in the full abstract?
Uh, it, if you looked in the full abstract for particular phrases, that would seem to be an option. Um, the noun phrases extraction gives them to you in a list in a way that can be handy, I think. But on any questions like that, I think my best advice is give it a try and see which way works better for you. If you do have a field of data, stop this. Oh, actually, huh, interesting. Import more fields. So in whichever file I'm in here, we didn't have abstract, so I can go get it now. Hope that doesn't jam up things too long. And here we've got abstracts, 129 abstracts, 4,000 abstract term phrases, pick up variation. And the variations turn out to be somewhat important. And I didn't get them all, I just took these. We did a quick search on, say, nursing home. Here's some I missed. Nursing home resident, nursing home staff, and so on. I don't want to go too far down that. Other
Okay,
questions or
great.
comments?
Yeah, so one more. Can you have dug into the keywords of that selected author? So author keywords, is that a field?
No.
No,
Uh,
author keywords are not a,
no,
yeah.
because we took these records from Medline. Had we wanted to, we could do things like take the PubMed ID for these 129 articles and run over to Web of Science, do a search on PubMed ID using advanced search, and pull all of those. Web of Science is the data set that I know that gives us author keywords. Here we also, a field we didn't use explicitly is mesh terms, and mesh breaks things out some different ways. Descriptors, qualifiers. Qualifiers I did look at a little bit. So if we wanted to get some emphases in our super expert, epidemiology, statistics, therapeutic, it's so on, we could use that to help filter, would be another option.
Okay. Great, but really good point about the ability to use VantagePoint in one data set and connect it with more information and more fields and a richer picture from another data set. And all of that can be incorporated into your analysis. Okay, great. Thank you all so much for your time, and thank you, Alan, for your time. We look forward to seeing you all at future webinars. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.